Alright, so in the last video, what we saw was that 2-barrel carburetor that we had on there really didn't flow very much air. What I decided to do was go straight to a 4-barrel carburetor. I've ordered an intake manifold, but it won't be here for a week or so. I do have the carburetor already, and what I'm going to do is show you that, and then I'm going to flow test that one in the same way that I flow tested the 2-barrel, and we'll calculate how many RPM that carburetor will support on this engine. So the carburetor that I have to try out is it's a Holley 4160. It's a 600 CFM vacuum secondary. Now, on paper, a 600 would probably seem like too much for this engine, but it being a vacuum secondary, it means that you can kind of tailor how much air flows into the engine. And you can adjust that by changing the springs in the secondary vacuum canister or diaphragm. You can put lighter springs in it and it'll have the secondaries open earlier, or you can have a stiffer spring in it and that will make the secondaries open later. There is even a spring that'll make it so that the secondaries don't open fully at all, regardless of how big of an engine it is or how fast it's spinning. So like before, for safety, I need to take the fuel bowls off of it before I flow test it. So this is a 4-barrel, and I'm going to test it at 1.5 inches of mercury like you do with a 4-barrel. And like before, I can't flow all 4 barrels at the same time, so I printed off this so that I can do one at a time. Now I'm going to flow test one of the rear barrels just to see if there's any difference between the front and the back. So when I was flow testing that 600 CFM carburetor at 1.5 inches of mercury, I was coming up with about 450 CFM, and I got kind of thinking, maybe why is it doing that? So I got the calibration plate out. That's a 100 CFM plate, and I measured 72 CFM on that plate. And then I realized what I did wrong. I have two different configurations for the Venturi. I use one configuration when I'm testing the intake side, and I do another configuration when I do the exhaust side. And what I did was, the last time I had a cylinder head on here, I ended doing the exhaust side. The bench was left in the exhaust side configuration, and if you leave it there and then you go back to doing where the air is flowing back into the bench rather than coming out of it, it causes an error. So that means that all that flow testing I did last time with that 2-barrel is inaccurate. It's reading false low. So anyway, I put it back in the right configuration, recalibrated it with the 100 CFM orifice plate. So these are the flow numbers when the flow bench is set up correctly. And if you multiply that by 4, you get 400 plus 200, 600, and that's 612 CFM. And that sounds about right. And the front and the rear barrels were practically the same. Now I probably should go back and reflow that 2-barrel so that we've got real appropriate data to compare the two. Okay, now with the flow bench set up in the proper way, we got about 112 to 113 CFM out of 1 barrel of it. So times 2, that's like 224 CFM. So now that I've got some numbers, we'll go back and we'll redo the calculations for the engine speed at that carburetor flow, and then we'll do the same thing again with the data from the 600 CFM. Okay, so the flow numbers on that 2-barrel ended up being between 224 and 226, so I'll put it in the middle and call it 225. And the denominator is going to stay the same, so I just need to change the numerator. And that changes this number to 3,029. So that 2-barrel would probably start being a restriction on the engine around 3,000 RPM. Now let's redo this for the 600 CFM carburetor. Actually, it ended up being what? Ended up measuring 612 CFM. And because going forward, I'm thinking I'm going to get that volumetric efficiency up a little bit higher. I'm going to change that to, oh, before it's all said and done, I'll probably just go high and say 95. But the volumetric efficiency isn't going to go up just because of the carburetor. I'm putting that up because of what other modifications I'm going to do to it later. So with that carburetor change, it could potentially support it up to 7,372 RPM. Which, for all intents and purposes, it makes the carburetor not a restriction on this engine anymore. Next time, hopefully I'll have the intake manifold here and I can do an unboxing video of that, and we'll do some test fitting on it and probably install it next time. I guess that's it until then.